Hey, how's it going? So PTCG Live is down right now, and I don't know, I just wasn't gonna make a video, but I decided to do this instead. Now I think that Dean Nazem should have won this regional, maybe? I don't know how the Dialga into Lost Zone matchup is. I was like trying to think about it in my head, and it could definitely go either way, but Lost Zone, because Lost Zone could very easily run away with the matchup with like Greninja and Iron Hands, and Dialga can also like just Iono every turn and keep disrupting your hand, which can be very annoying as Lost Box. But I think he should have at least taken it to a game 3 with Grant Shen. And I'm not like here saying that I'm better than Dean or anything. Dean is the GOAT. Dean is a legend. He defeated... There was a time in the TCG with expanded regionals where Azul and Jimmy Pendarvis and Caleb Gettimer and like that whole crew were winning like every regional with Zorotoad. It was like the most disgustingly oppressive deck. I think the degeneracy has surpassed that and expanded now, but for the time, this deck was ridiculous. So if you knew how to play it well, it could beat almost anything. And Dean brought Zoropod, like Zoroark GX, Gliscopod GX to the regional, and took down Zorotoad in the finals and won the regional, and it was pretty awesome. So he's a legend, he's a hero. So I'm not here like saying I'm better than him or anything. I just think, you know, you're in top 4, you're on camera, you get a little bit tilted, things can go wrong, and it's a lot easier to like watch a game and see what the plays should be than it is to actually make the plays in the moment. And also, where is it? Alright, so he started this game just with 2 pretty bad Comfey choices, and that can just like lead to tilting. You're down 1 game, and then your first 2 Comfeys are super awkward. His first 2 Comfey decisions were double energy, water and lightning into Mirage Gate Darkness Energy. So that's kind of annoying right there. That can definitely put you on tilt a little bit. I kind of recreated the situation, at least from his side, because what he does here, Grant kind of like thins his deck out really good and puts down another Frigi, and he's got Pokestop in play. He's only has a few cards in his deck. His deck is like just a ton of good cards, and he takes the knockout on the Roaring Moon and basically says, alright, you can knock out my barrel, but then I only need like a Superior and a way to get Chiampao to knock out your only threat in play, because Dean's down like 3 Mirage Gates and 2 Super Rods, and the other 2 Rods are in his hand, so... And Cramorant and Sableye are in the Lost Zone. So he can only really create 1 more attacker, because he doesn't have like his single attachment attackers and stuff. So he attaches the Darkness Energy to the Iron Hands. He does it right away. He shouldn't have done that. He should do that before, like, attach the energy at the end of your turn, because he's not shuffling his hand into his deck or anything, so that should be like the last action. But it seems like he's kind of flustered. I think he should just attach the energy and maybe Flower Select once and then pass. But he decks himself out here, and he shouldn't do that, because that forces him to go down to Super Rod, and that's like really bad for this situation. You definitely don't want to be down to Super Rod. He should just attach the energy, Flower Select, and pass. With the... You can retreat to another Comfey, you don't have to use the Flower Selecting. But what he's basically saying here is, I'm going to win next turn with Iron Hands on your Greninja or your Barrel. Because with the attachment, then he can attach Mirage Gate and use the Ampy Very Much attack. But since he decks himself out, he's forced to play a Super Rod, like proactively, but he wanted to save that to play reactive to whatever Grant Shen does. Because if Grant knocks out this Iron Hands, you need to recycle an attacker and set it up. Alright, so top deck Pokegear for turn. So what he could have done was just go Comfey, and he put the Colress into the Lost Zone, put the Escape Board into the hand, and maybe attach the board to the bench, or attach and retreat, attach the energy, pass. Alright, so I'm just gonna lay out all the situations that could happen, keeping both the Super Rod, and then I'll go over the ones where you play the Super Rod at the end. So the first thing that could happen is he just knocks out your Comfey with his Baxcalibur, and then you draw the Artisan, and then you would Super Rod, Lightning, and 2 other energy into your deck, play the Mirage Gate, attach the 2 energy, Comfey, keep the Psychic, Lost on the Artisan, your hand attachment, Prime Catcher, Greninja, or the Barrel, and win the game. The other option, that this is the one that Dean either didn't consider or just thought that maybe he would be able to knock it out with Hoopa. I'm not really too sure, but the other situation is he knocks out Iron Hands, in which case he would just promote your Comfey, draw the Artisan, Super Rod. You would just put back just Roaring Moon and Darkness Energy. Play your Colress. The Colress lets you keep all 3 of the cards because you put the cards in your hand before you lost on the cards. So if there's 3 or less cards in your deck, you always get the 3 cards in your hand with Colress. Just like if there's only 1 card in your deck, it just goes into your hand with Comfey. And then you would just bench, attach Super Rod, Dark, and just 2 other energies. Mirage Gate, attach those energies, retreat, and win. Alright, and the way that Dean played it, this is right after he Comfeys into the rescue board and Lost Zones the other card. Retreat into Comfey, Lost Zone that, put the Artisan into your hand, and now you have to play the Super Rod or the Roxanne. But since Baxcalibur or Chien-Pao decks don't play hand disruption anymore, you're usually pretty fine to just hold on to your hand. I'm assuming that'll probably change at some point, but for right now, they're not playing hand disruption. But now you're decked out, you have to play the Super Rod. So you play the Super Rod, and you just put back Roaring Moon, Dark Energy. Now you have those 2 cards in your deck. The reason you only put those 2 back is because if you put a 3rd card back, or you could put back a 2nd Dark Energy, I guess. But anything other than that, you can't put back. So if you put back Water Energy, then you top deck the Water Energy. I don't know, things could just get weird, where you'd have to Comfey into those 2. But since you do have the Colress in your hand, I guess you really could just put back whatever. But if you didn't have the Colress, you would definitely just want to put back those 2. And then you would just pass. If your Iron Hands doesn't get knocked out, they just knock out your Comfey. You draw that. You draw your Roaring Moon for turn. Comfey, Flower Selecting into your Dark Energy. Attach Super Rod, Mirage Gate, and Prime Catcher for game. And then you could just do the same thing where you would bench the Roaring Moon, Comfey into the Dark Energy, attach Super Rod, Mirage Gate. But he put back 3 energy. I'm super curious to what exactly he was thinking, or if he wasn't thinking and he just kind of felt rushed to make a decision, or he was just thinking all I need is cards in my deck, I just need to top deck an energy next turn and Mirage Gate to the Iron Hands and Prime Catcher to win. Not really too sure about that. Alright, so I'm just rewatching this real quick, and he just Super Rodded Lightning Dark Water into his deck and bossed up the barrel. So I guess he's just hoping that Grant can't get enough resources to retreat and knock out his Iron Hands, or he's thinking there's no way, but Grant immediately takes stock of the resources, plays Irida, and grabs Prime Catcher Chien-Pao. He puts it down, and Dean looks at it and just starts looking at his hand. It's kind of like he's like, oh crap, I didn't really fully consider that. See, I think he was kind of thinking that Hoopa was going to be what he could win with, but the problem is that he's got to discard 4 energy with the Chien-Pao to knock out the Iron Hands. And so that only leaves 4 more energy, and that's not enough to knock out a Chiampao with Hoopa. So there's just really, unless he put the lightning in play and every single one of his energies, there's basically no way that there was going to be enough energy in play for Hoopa to knock out the Chiampao. I think Dean just kind of forgot about the Prime Catcher and what he would do in that situation, because if he had just put back the Roaring Moon and the Dark Energy, he would have been in a fine spot since he has the other Super Rod. It's in his hand somewhere. I'm sure of that, because he plays it later in this turn, and I was able to stop it at some point to see. Yep, there it is. It's the old art. That's why I missed it. So yeah, he would have had all the cards to make that play happen, but unfortunately he didn't, and Grant wins this game and goes on to play a pretty bad matchup in the finals. Dialga, it takes Dialga so little to knock out Chiampaos, and they can start Chronos and knock out both of your Frigibacks and your Baxcalibur in basically one turn and leave you with nothing to do. There's just a lot of things they can do. Grant played it really well. He took the avenues that you would assume that you would have to take to possibly win the game, but it just didn't work out because it's not a great matchup, and Andrew Kedrick is also a very good player. But overall, it's a pretty stacked top 4 with Dean, Grant Manley, and Andrew Kedrick. It's kind of nuts. But anyway, so that is why I think Dean should have been in the finals, but it happens to the best of us, and hopefully at the very least that taught you guys like a little bit of sequencing. I don't know, I want to do a video and go like in depth on sequencing, but as you can probably tell from this video, I'm not very good at explaining myself, so I figured I'd make this first and see how it goes. But anyway, take care and have a good one.